I know they're talking about you. And I know it's been getting to you. And I know that things are hard and times are tough. But you know what? I got good news for you. You're totally unstoppable. Ain't no mountain high enough, there ain't no valley low enough, there ain't no ocean wide enough to keep me from my dreams. I fully made up my mind to leave the past behind, seek until I find my destiny. Totally unstoppable. Totally unstoppable. Totally unstoppable. In the face of every obstacle, I'm moving ahead unstoppable, knowing nothing's impossible if only I believe. I'm reaching for the unreachable, feeling for the intangible, looking for the invisible, because I believe. Totally, I'm totally unstoppable. Totally unstoppable. Totally unstoppable. Let me tell you now, every obstacle presents an opportunity. Every rock I see a stepping stone. The only limitation is in my imagination. Doesn't matter what they say, gonna do it anyway. There's no triumph without a trial, no gain without the pain, no glory without a story, no might without the fight, no victory without a victim, no message without a mess, no testimony without the testing. So step by step, totally unstoppable, totally unstoppable, totally, 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 Wow and wow, good people. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode, installment edition of this great and dynamic kingdom conversation with me, your host, Bishop Wayne Malcolm, the business bishop. Always excited and delighted to be a part of your life and legacy through this ministry. I want to celebrate those of you that are joining us live. Celebrations, salutations, congratulations. And I know you're coming in from different parts of the world, so it's different times wherever you are. I sincerely celebrate you. And I likewise celebrate those who catch the replays. And I thank God for you. Now, let me tell you why some of you will catch the replays. It's because you have subscribed to this channel. And so, if you haven't already subscribed and you like the content tonight, please do subscribe to the channel. In fact, I want you to do a few things for me. I want you to subscribe to the channel. I want you to click the bell, right, when you subscribe for notifications. That way, YouTube will tell you whenever we are posting new content, and we are posting fresh content every week, 3 times a week. It's exciting. So subscribe, click the bell for notifications. Also, please do like the post. If you like it, don't just like it in your heart, in your mind. Click on the like button. Let YouTube know that you like this kind of content. And I also want you to leave a comment, right? So if we bless you in any particular way, if tonight's session constitutes a transformation, a breakthrough, an elevation in your understanding, a paradigm shift, a light bulb moment, an epiphany, whatever, okay? If it constitutes that for you, please do leave a comment in the comment section. And finally, I want you to utilize the chat box as your virtual voice so we can have this interactive experience today. I'm certainly going to be utilizing sound effects, right? Like that one. When I think, we've said something that's just worthy of a pause and a praise break. And this one, if I feel like we're dropping some heavy revelations. And this one, for those light bulb moments, okay? Those epiphanies, those paradigm shifts, those elevations in our understanding. So, you know how it goes. I'm really excited about today's session, and I'm going to dive right in right because tonight I'm going to be dealing with the excuses syndrome. So we've actually been in a series throughout the month of August entitled The Poverty Syndrome, and we've deliberately spelt sin, S-I-N, as opposed to S-Y-N. And we've done that because we are exploring the moral and spiritual implications of entertaining certain ideas, entertaining beliefs, even at an unconscious level. And whereas I guess we're all having to kind of flush out our minds and we are experiencing this renewal of mind, every now and again we identify self-limiting, self-defeating, self-sabotaging beliefs. And for some of us, it's okay to entertain them. But I am considering in this series the moral and spiritual implications of entertaining those kinds of beliefs, because I think that those beliefs not only serve to block your blessing, prohibit your progress and prosperity, sabotage your success, and derail your destiny, but those beliefs are actually exalting themselves against the knowledge of God and are making it very difficult, if not impossible, for you to experience all that God has for you. I think that the number one barrier to our breakthroughs and our blessings in life are between our ears. And if we can break through at a psychological level, if we can break through in terms of our mentality and paradigm, then the rest is going to be an inevitable consequence of the way that you are thinking. So we've gone through several syndromes, and tonight we are concluding with the excuses syndrome. Yep, the excuses syndrome. Because some of us have a story, okay? We wrote the story, we edited the story, we published the story in our own mind that gives real reasons why we have not become all that we could be. We haven't done all that we were assigned. We don't yet have all the things that God designed and destined for us, but we've got reasons why, okay? And those reasons have become our narrative and our story. And what we want to do today is we want to put those reasons under the spotlight so that we can identify any self-limiting, self-defeating, self-sabotaging beliefs so that we can expose them and so that we can eliminate them and break through that barrier and get out of our own way. So here goes. So here's the outline for the excuses syndrome. I'm going to kick off with some context for the concept. And if that's as far as we get tonight, I'm telling you, that alone is worthy of your full attention. We're going to look at the comfort zone, the blame game, rewriting your story from excuses to affirmations. And then I'm going to talk about God being true and every man a liar. Wow and wow. Are you ready? If you're ready, light up the chat box. Let me know that you're excited about tonight's kingdom conversation and you are ready to dive in. So let's give some context to this concept. Context to the concept. Here we go. Every excuse is an allegation against God himself. Oh my, what did Bishop Wayne just say? I said that every excuse is in fact an allegation against God himself. And what we don't want to do is allege injustice with God, okay? Yet excuses are in fact allegations against God himself. Now, how do we know this? We know this because the very earliest passages of the scriptures, Genesis 3, describes the fall of man. And what we find in the fall is that Adam and Eve are full of excuses and justifications and reasons why they did what they did. Let's look into this right now. Genesis 3, verses 9 to 13. And the Lord God called unto Adam and said unto him, Where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, and I hid myself. And he said, Who told you that you was naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou shouldest not eat? And the man said, The woman whom thou gavest to be with me. So notice, he immediately blamed the woman, right? And then he said, This is the woman that you gave to me. Okay? So he is indirectly blaming God. The woman that you gave to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. And the Lord God said unto the woman, What is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. So notice that they had excuses, they had a story, they had justifications for their actions, and we are introduced to this world of excuses this early in the Bible, and it's this early in the Bible for a reason, okay? It's in here for a reason. The book of the Genesis, the book of origins, actually reveals the origins of everything. So not just the universe, not just this planet, not just its population and its ecosystems, but it reveals the origins of the human dilemma, and it reveals exactly why that dilemma is sustained. And it is sustained because fundamentally we fail to take responsibility for our condition and our position in life, and we seek to justify our condition and our position, or we seek to blame others for our condition and our position. And this is being revealed right here in this passage. Let's look at these bullet points on the bottom right. When God confronted Adam, he immediately made excuses for his behavior. He blamed his wife, who blamed the serpent. However, a careful reading will show that they really blamed God. They really blamed God. So the careful reading goes like this: the woman who you gave to be with me. So this woman is here because of your idea. You gave me this woman, and the woman gave to me to eat, and I did eat. When God confronted Eve, she said it was the serpent that beguiled me. So in other words, God, you are the source of this particular problem. Because if it hadn't been for you, I wouldn't be in this condition or in this position. So what we're seeing here is that every excuse is in fact an allegation against God himself. When you are making excuses for why you have not become all that you were designed and destined to be, why you have not done the things for which you have been equipped, anointed, and assigned, why you do not have the territory and the domain that was designated to you, when you come up with these excuses, ultimately, they are allegations against God himself. And I don't want to make allegations against God. Therefore, I have decided to accept full responsibility for my condition and for my position, because the last thing I'm going to do is blame God. I wish I had some help in here today. Self-justification is a fig leaf that can never cover the shame of economic nakedness. Now, I put that in there because we are a marketplace ministry, and we, have a special grace and an assignment to God's entrepreneurs. and to professionals, investors, influencers, and creatives who are serving God in the marketplace. And so I'm really looking at this passage with economic spectacles. I'm looking at this passage through an economic lens, and I'm referring to economic nakedness, in which we are stripped of the things that belong to us. Okay. And here I'm saying that self-justification is a fig leaf. All right. It's a fig leaf. It can never cover the shame of economic nakedness. Excuses will never cover the shame. I wish I had some help in here. Okay, so let's dive into this. Excuses and the comfort zone. So that was context for the concept that I'm going to be unpacking today, which is that every excuse is in fact an allegation against God himself. So let's dive into this. Excuses and the comfort zone. Excuses comfort us when faced with the pain of regret. So whenever regret is perhaps the most painful emotion that we can experience in life, because it's one of those emotions that we can't do anything about. All right, because whatever you regret is an incident in the past that you cannot change, right? So when faced with the pain of regret, how we typically comfort ourselves is with an excuse or a justification or a set of credible reasons why we were not able to seize our opportunity, take a particular action, take a particular course. And this comforts us when we're faced with the pain of regret. Number two, excuses cushion the impact of failure. All right, when failure hits you, it hurts. But how some people cushion the impact is by making excuses, justifications, writing a narrative, a story that explains exactly why it was not their fault, exactly why someone else and something else is to blame. And this becomes a cushion to cushion the impact of failure. Number three, excuses are an auto-defense mechanism to protect us from the pain of the shame. Okay? So when we feel shame, what happens is this activates this auto defense mechanism called excuses, and we start making excuses to protect us from the pain of the shame. Number four, excuses are a shield of defense to protect the lie we told ourselves. Wow and wow. Yep. Because for you to make an excuse, what you've done is you've told yourself a lie. Now, in order to protect that lie, to fortify that lie, to believe that lie, we create these excuses, these justifications, these narratives, and they're there to protect the lie. You think about it, okay, when Adam was confronted by God, concerning the tree and the fruit, the forbidden fruit, when he was confronted, what he first did before he made these excuses was he told himself a lie. He basically lied to himself and said, actually, I'm not to blame for this. My wife is to blame for this. And ultimately, God, who gave her to me, is to blame for this. So he's told himself a lie, and these excuses are a shield to defend and protect that lie. This is why I'm going to challenge you tonight to get out of the excuses business, to accept full responsibility for your position and condition in life, because only when you assume responsibility do you have the power to change, to make a difference, or to create a better outcome. So long as someone else is to blame and something else is to blame, so long as there exists a legitimate reason why you have not become, done, or possessed all that you were designed and destined to be, do, and have, so long as there are legitimate reasons why, then you'll never become, you'll never do, you'll never have, you'll never experience the be, do, have that God designed and destined for you. So accepting responsibility, as painful as it may seem, is actually the only way to change your condition. I wish I had some help in here. The only way to change your condition is to stop making excuses and accept full responsibility. So here goes. Excuses and the blame game. Excuses and the blame game. So if I were to ask the question, why haven't you started on your prosperity project? Why haven't you started on your prosperity project? And some of you are going to say, well, I did start on my project, but I'm just stalled at the moment. Okay, so why have you stalled on your prosperity project? And what tends to happen is we create this list of reasons. Now, I've listed 10 here. So if the cap fits, you know what to do with it. So let's go through this right now. I don't know how or where to start. Have you ever heard that before? I don't know how or where to start. Sounds reasonable. Okay. Sounds credible. I don't know how or where to start. But actually, this is protecting or shielding a lie that you first told yourself. I don't know how or where to start really means that I have not studied, I have not learned exactly how and where to start. It's not an excuse for not starting. It's not a good excuse for not starting. It's you accepting that you don't know. And you know what? Ignorance is okay. Ignorance is okay. Willful ignorance is not okay. Ignorance is okay because when you accept that you don't know something, then you can go about finding out exactly how to do it. So I don't know how or where to start. Number 2, I don't have any help. Number 3, I don't have the money. Number 4, I don't have the time. Number 5, I don't have the energy. Number 6, I got hurt along the way, right? It's painful. It's a painful process. I got hurt, so I've fallen back. I'm stalling, I'm healing, I'm recovering, and I don't want to get hurt again, so I'm not sure that I want to try that anymore. I got hurt along the way. How many ever heard that before? Yes or yes? I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy of these outcomes for which I am in pursuit. I have enemies and critics. There are people working against me, conspiring against me, trying to sabotage my success, trying to block my blessings. There are people in the way who are telling lies, and I've got enemies and I've got critics, and that's why. That's your reason. That's your excuse. Number 9, I have disabilities, okay? Perhaps you're dyslexic, or perhaps there is another physical disability. And that, for some people, is their excuse. That's the story. That's the narrative. Number 10, people like me don't achieve things like that. So that's where someone looks at their background, looks at their history, looks at their family tree, looks at the environment in which they were raised, and they have concluded that people like us don't make it to places like that. Okay? That's for other people who had, better parents and a better household and better experiences and a better environment, and it's okay for them, but for people like us, or people like me, we don't achieve things like that. So these are 10 excuses that I've listed, right? And really they are excuse categories, because people don't always say it exactly like this, but they have a variation of this as to what's holding them back, as to why they haven't been able to make progress. So I want you to notice that each of these excuses are fundamentally lies that we tell ourselves to justify our own condition and position. If they were in fact true, then it would be true of everyone facing the same obstacles. But unfortunately for the excuse maker, unfortunately for you, there are millions of witnesses, millions who can testify, millions who had the same hurdles and obstacles to climb, but who found a way and made it work. One of the things that I love to do, I think that's a great moment. One of the things that I love to do is read the autobiographies of outstanding achievers. And what you'll discover when you read their autobiographies and you read their collection of life experiences and the lessons they learned from life is that some of them inherited serious and significant sociological and economic and psychological disadvantages because of the family they were born in, the parents that raised them or that failed to raise them, environments that they were exposed to, trauma, pain that they experienced, and yet they went on to achieve outstanding success. And yet there are others who haven't been through half as much, haven't been through a quarter of much, who have used their difficulties, their traumas, their struggles as an excuse or a justification for why they have not even embarked on the adventure of the journey of success. They haven't even started, and they've got reasons why. The problem is that there are millions who can testify that they found a way to overcome obstacles, to break through barriers, to transcend expectations, and to go ahead and achieve what some people thought was impossible. Woo! Because they wouldn't take no for an answer. The truth is that you will never rise above the story you tell yourself. You'll never rise above your story. And we have a narrative that we are playing out in our own minds, a movie that we made that we're watching all the time, and it is your story. Your story, okay? If I were to ask you, what's your story? You know, if you were to tell me your story, perhaps you would talk about unpleasant, painful episodes, encounters, difficulties, struggles, disadvantages, hostility, aggression, all of these things. Now, if this is the story, then actually you'll never rise above that story. So what you have to do is change the story. You have to rewrite the story. Now, someone said, Bishop, I can't change the story. I can't change the facts. I can't change what actually happened. No, you cannot, but you can change its meaning to you. You can change what the meaning of the story is, or the incidents, or the episodes, or the encounters. What did they actually mean? You can change what they mean to you, what they mean for you, and what they say about you. See, you always have the privilege of editing, rewriting, rewording, and reinterpreting the episodes and incidents in your life so that the story helps you instead of hurting you. Now, I'm going to read the bullet points before I read the scripture. The bullet points are: everyone has a story, okay? But here's the truth. Everyone wrote it themselves. Yeah, they did. Say, oh no, someone else wrote the story. It was other people. No, the story that's going on in your mind, you are the author of that particular story. You are the author and the sole architect and creator of your subjective experience. Your what? Your subjective experience. What's going on the inside? Because your subjective experience, your subjective experience includes your interpretations and understandings of what happened, the lessons you learned from your experiences in life, and the conclusions you reached as a result of certain experiences in your life. That's the story. And guess who wrote that story? You wrote that story. Now, the issue is that your story either works for you or it works against you. Your story either works for you or it works against you. The question is, does your story help? Is your story helping you to become all that you were designed and destined to be? Is your story helping you to do, accomplish, fulfill your purpose, your mission, your assignment in life? Is your story helping you to possess your promises, to take your territory, to dominate a domain? Is your story helping you to be, do, and have? Because it's either working for you or it's working against you. And some people have entertained a story that is working against you, making it virtually impossible for you to be, do, and have all that you were designed and destined to be, do, and have. So I've put here the bottom bullet point. If your story doesn't help, then change it by changing its meaning. Change the story by changing its meaning. And I'm going to give you a biblical example of this. Genesis 45, verses 4 to 5. In Genesis 45, Joseph reveals to his brothers his true identity. Joseph reveals himself to his brothers. Joseph says, I am Joseph, your brother. So let's read it. And Joseph said unto his brethren, come near to me, I pray you. And they came near. And he said, I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into Egypt. Wow. Well, that was a difficult moment because these are the same brothers who beat him up, threw him into a pit, sold him into slavery, dipped his coat of many colors into blood, ripped it up, as if it had been torn apart by an animal, brought it to his father and said, we found this and we believe that Joseph is dead, that he's been devoured by a wild beast. We found this coat that you gave to him. These were wicked people who did wicked things to a very innocent young man. Number one, he was their youngest brother. And actually, they were supposed to be his keepers. They hated him because of his dreams. They hated him because he had ambition. They hated him because of his high and lofty aspirations. They hated him because of the grace and favor that was upon his life. They hated him because of the favor that his father showed to them. These were wicked people. And you know what? Joseph's story could have been just that. I am the unfortunate victim of other people's hostility and aggression, of their lies, of their wickedness, of their sabotage. He could have told that story. But here's what he said instead. He said, I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into Egypt. Now, therefore, be not grieved, nor angry with yourselves that you sold me here, for God did send me before you to preserve life. What are we seeing here? We're seeing Joseph interpreting the episodes of his life, even the painful, difficult, traumatic episodes of his life. He's reinterpreting them as God sending me before you to preserve life. In other words, you were wicked, and I'm not excusing your wickedness. But actually, God used that to pull and push me onto the pathway of my purpose. You see, the pathway of purpose, wow, this is deep. I'm going to dive into this. The pathway of purpose is calling you. And that call is a pull, right? So your purpose is pulling on you. It's pulling on you by way of the dreams and the visions and the aspirations and the passion and the desire you have for more. That is your purpose pulling you. But actually, for all of his dreams, for all the dreams that Joseph had, he never once packed his bags and said, Dad, brothers, I'm off to Egypt where I think I can live out my dreams. I'm going to go and I'm going to get on the pathway of my purpose to live out my dreams. Why? Because all he had was a pull. But sometimes to get you on the pathway of purpose, you also need a push. A push, not just a pull. Yeah. So actually, whereas passion pulls you onto the pathway of purpose, pressure pushes you onto the pathway of purpose. And if we were honest, it is not just inspiration that puts us on the pathway of purpose. Sometimes it's desperation that puts us on the pathway of purpose. It is not just ambition and aspiration that puts us on the pathway of purpose. Sometimes it's aggression, hostility, and rejection that pushes us out of one circle and into another. It pushes us out and pulls us into another. And so sometimes the rejection is for your protection. Sometimes the rejection is for your redirection. And so Joseph was able to look back over his life and say, had it not been for the hostility, aggression, rejection of my brothers, I never would have been in position for the promotion. Were it not for the lies of Potiphar's wife, were it not for my place in a prison, I never would have been positioned for the promotion. So he's looked back over his life and he sees God working in mysterious ways, his wonders to perform. In this respect, he has rewritten his story. And instead of concluding that actually he was hated and rejected because he was a victim of the aggression and oppression of older brothers. Instead, he rewrote that piece and said, actually, I was rejected because I'm chosen to be different. I was pushed out because the family was not the place of my purpose. I was pushed into the position of my promotion. And when you can look back over your life and see the kingdom pushing and pulling you into a place of purpose and into the position of promotion, now you have a new story. And it's a story that's helping you to win. It's a story that's helping you to take the shot. It's a story that's helping you to survive a setback. It's a story that's helping you to continue with a decision, to continue courageously in spite of the difficulties that you encounter. Someone should be screaming in the chat box right now. So here's a quote that's attributed to Confucius. It says, "The man who says he can and the man who says he cannot are both correct." See, if you say I can, you're right. You really can. But if you say I cannot, you're also right. You really cannot. Because the locus of control, the place, the location of control is you. Is you. It's not anything outside of you. It is your choices that are going to determine your chances in life. It is your decisions that are going to determine your destiny in life. You can decide, and I'm going to show you how before this session is over. It's important that you become the I can person. It's important that you begin to say I can. And you're never going to be able to say it with conviction until you're first able to say I am. Woo! When you're able to say I am, out of that I am is going to come the I can, which is why we need to move from excuses to affirmations. Right? I'm challenging you to reject every excuse and instead to begin to make some affirmations and to transition from excuses to affirmations, because I've shared with you exactly why excuses can only sabotage your success. They can only prevent or prohibit your progress and prosperity. They can only block your breakthrough and your blessings. They can only ever be a barrier. So you need to reject them, and to reject them, you have to accept responsibility for your condition and position. But that is the most empowering moment of your life. when you accept responsibility for your condition and your position, you accept it totally, because when you accept it totally, you've taken power out of the hands of the others. You've taken the power away from those people who didn't want to see you prosper. You've taken power away from them. You've taken power away from the system, power away from things, and you've relocated the power to where you are. It's a very liberating moment. So now we got a journey from excuses to affirmations, from excuses to affirmations. And there are 3 types of affirmation that you need to be making from this day forward. They are I am affirmations, I can affirmations, and I will affirmations. And these completely correspond with the biblical order of success, which is to be, do, have. Be, do, have. Be fruitful, do multiply, have dominion. Okay? And so being is becoming. And actually, it speaks to your identity, your sense of I am. Who am I really? And so when it comes to I am, in order to make an I am affirmation, you first have to identify with the part of you that God made. Woo! You have to identify with your spiritual nature, your spiritual essence, who you are in principle, not who you have become in person, but who you are in principle, who you are in essence, not in your ego. So in essence, in principle, you are a spirit being. You are a spiritual being that was created by God, from God, in God, and for God. At a spiritual level, you have the DNA of God. At a spiritual level, you have spiritual intelligence and already know everything you will ever need to know in order to be, do, have anything that you were designed and destined to be, do, have. You know it, which is why when you first hear it, you recognize it, you resonate with it. You resonate with things you hear because you already know them at a profound spiritual level. You know things that have not yet entered into your mind because as a spiritual being, you were made perfectly complete and equipped with everything you would ever need. So, I'm going to identify with my highest self. I'm going to identify with the part of me that God made. Why do I say the part that God made? Well, because you are spirit, soul, and body. You're a tripart being, spirit, soul, and body. The part that God created is your spiritual essence. Your body was made by a biological process. And your soul, which is your mind, your mindset, reflects a sociological process of experience and environments you've been exposed to and education, whether it was good or bad, whether it was correct and accurate and true, or whether it was false and heretical and not true. That's why the battlefield is the mind, because the mind has got, some bad ideas, wrong beliefs, and we are being transformed because we're renewing the mind. But the part of you that God made, your spiritual essence, is a genius, is profound, is limitless, boundless, afraid of nothing, can do all that you were designed and destined to achieve. So identify with the part of you that God made. And instead of identifying with your lowest self, identify with your highest self and say, I am blessed. I am bountiful. I am limitless. I am God's child. I am God's offspring. As you begin to I am, okay, out of that I am will come the second set of affirmations, which is I can. Because of who you are, you can do all things through Christ that strengthens you. You have to know that there are no that there are no limits to the part of you that God made, right? There's a part of me that society made, but the part of me that God made knows no limits. So I can achieve everything that I am called to achieve, that I'm chosen to achieve. I can fulfill the mission. I can build the business. I can do it. I can. Okay. And once your I am affirmations and your I can affirmations begin to settle in, then we get now to this wonderful place where you say, I will. I will. I will. Not I'm going to try, not I hope so, but I will. I will build what I'm called to build. I will achieve what I'm anointed to achieve. I will fulfill the mission that God gave me before I came into the world. Before I formed you in the belly, I knew you, gave you an assignment, gave you an anointing. I will. I will choose life over death. I will choose prosperity over poverty. I will. No excuses. I will. I will. And now when you've moved from excuses to affirmations, and you are now affirming I am, you are affirming I can, you will affirm I will. You won't take no for an answer. You will not allow an excuse to justify any procrastination, any hesitation. I will. Now I'm going to close with this, right? I'm going to do an early close today as we're just concluding this series. Romans 3 verse 4 says, let God be true and every man a liar. Let God be true and every man a liar. Let God be true. Now remember, I told you at the beginning that every excuse is actually an allegation against God himself. Every excuse is actually housing an allegation and an aggression and an assault on the integrity and the character of God himself. And I know the last thing you would want to do is assault the integrity or the character of God. It's the last thing you would want to do, but it's the first thing the devil wants you to do. And if you look at the fall of man in Genesis 3, what the serpent actually said to Eve is, you will not surely die, which means God is lying to you about dying, right? You will not surely die. God knows in the day you eat, you will be like him. You will be like gods, knowing good and evil. So what did the devil do? He assaulted the integrity of God. He insulted the character of God. He questioned the love of God. And he planted those seeds of doubt in Eve's mind. I want you to know that it is still his strategy today to get you accusing God of lying. This is why you have to decide that God is true. Every man, which is everything that is not the truth of God, is a lie. Everything that exalts itself against the knowledge of God is a lie. And you have to now consider it as evil. So watch this. Numbers 13, verse 32 to 33. Numbers 13, 32 to 33. Give you some context for this. Moses sent spies into the promised land to spy out the land and gather intelligence. And of course, he just wanted to know, okay, look, we're on the brink of this breakthrough, about to cross over. We're going to go into this land. We need to know what we're up against. We need to know how we can defend ourselves, how we can protect our progress, how we can, what's the size of the obstacle in our way. So he sent spies into the land and they came back with an evil report. Now, I love the way the King James says this. He didn't say they came back with a bad report. They came back with a negative report. He says they came back with an evil report. And we now have to realize that this excuses thing is a syndrome, S-I-N, and we need to stop calling it bad or negative and instead begin to call it what it is. It is evil. It is evil when something or someone says you can't be who God says you are. When someone or something says you can't do what God assigned you to do, when someone or something says that you can't have what God promised you, that's not a negative report, it's an evil report. Woo, that's a moment. Woo, that's a moment. So Numbers 13, verse 32 to 33, it says, "And they brought up an evil report of the land, which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, The land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eats up the inhabitants thereof." So they're cannibals. "And all the people we saw in it are men of great stature." It's big people in there. "And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so were we in their sight." Now, what made this report evil? Because actually, they reported the facts. Okay? These were factual findings. The fact is that there were cannibals in the land. The fact is men of great stature, the giants, the sons of Anak, were there. The fact is that they were as grasshoppers in the sight of their enemies, and they were as grasshoppers in their own sight. But here's why God calls it evil. It's an evil report because it was designed to justify hesitation, stagnation, procrastination. It was designed to justify not going into the promised land. And it was used to justify non-progression. It was used to justify stagnation. It was used to justify the wilderness life. It was used to justify a movement to return to Egypt. This made it an evil report because it became the excuse. Now, though this report was factual, I've shared before, I'm going to share one more time in this series, that the truth is always a fact, but the facts are not always the truth. Why? Because facts are physical and the truth is spiritual. Facts belong to the physical world and the truth belongs to the spiritual world. And given that the physical world is subject to the spiritual world, then the truth can always overrule the facts. A miracle occurs when natural laws are temporarily suspended, being overruled by a higher court, which is the court of the truth. So the truth was that none of these obstacles were bigger than God. The truth is that Israel, with God, were the majority. The truth is that by God, they could have run through the troop and leaped over that wall. The truth is that the giants, the sons of Anak, were no match for Israel and her God. That was the truth. The facts without the truth become lies and they become excuses. So yes, it's a fact that you weren't raised by the best of parents. It's a fact that you didn't have the educational opportunities that other people had. It's a fact that perhaps you are you belong to a marginalized minority. It's a fact that no one's prepared to borrow you the money to make the initial investment into the idea that you have. It's a fact. And we could go through these lists of facts. It's a fact that you're dyslexic, that you have a disability. It's a fact. But none of those facts are the truth. The truth is that by God, you can run through that troop and you can leap over that wall. The truth. Let God be true and every man a liar. See, you've got to stand for the truth in the face of the facts. You've got to say, okay, it may be a fact that I don't have the money right now, but it's not true. It's not true that I can't start this thing. Because even if I start by simply writing my vision and making it plain so that I can sell my concept to an investor who will show me favor because God has favored me. Let me tell you something. None of those facts must ever be allowed to become your excuse, because that excuse is fundamentally an attack, an aggression, and an assault on the integrity of God himself. See, if God said, thou shalt prosper, if God said, I want you to prosper and be in health even as your soul prospers, if God said that a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, if God has revealed to you his plan and will for you, then anything and anyone denying that is actually questioning God's integrity, God's character, and we're not going to participate in it. We are not going to buy into our excuses, because guess what? You're either going to make excuses or you're going to make some money, but you're not going to make both. So we ditch all the excuses today. We replace them with affirmation. We accept full responsibility for our condition and position, and we will face the facts with the truth that if God be for me, then no one and no thing can be against me. No weapon formed against me shall ever prosper, and all things are working together for my good. Listen, I want you to be at my next and new masterclass, and it's called, the details are in the description below this video. I want you to click on it. It is the 4 streams of success, and in which I am going to reveal a mystery. It's going to empower your life and business in the most profound ways. So I want you to check it out right now. The least you can do is go to the page and check it out. See if it's for you. Might not be for you, but if you're one of God's entrepreneurs, if you are a kingdom ambassador called to the marketplace for such a time as this, then you don't want to miss this masterclass, because it's the culmination of many years of learning, of growing, of becoming, and I put it all together, and it's going to bless you phenomenally. Don't go before you watch these ads.
Hey there, entrepreneurs. If you enjoy the teachings of Bishop Wayne Malcolm, I've got something amazing for you. Introducing the New Breed Community, an exclusive online platform for kingdom-conscious entrepreneurs, professionals, investors, and creators. This isn't just a community, it's a movement where we discuss and explore kingdom concepts. Here, kingdom-minded people connect, share, learn, and grow together. Inside, you'll find exclusive content from Bishop Wayne Malcolm, including special sessions just for members. And the best part? It's free to join. The New Breed Community sits on the Heartbeat platform, where Bishop Wayne Malcolm is excited to meet you online. Join us for weekly Q&A sessions with Bishop Wayne, and get exclusive insights that can transform your life. Love to read? Join our book club to feed your mind and spirit. Got a prayer request? Post it and let's lift each other up. Have a testimony? Share how God's goodness is shining in your life. We're more than just a community, we're a movement. Discover the powerful relationship between your profession and your purpose. Join us now on the Heartbeat platform. Connect with us and let's grow together. Bishop Wayne Malcolm and the New Breed Community are waiting for you. So what are you waiting for? Hit that join button and step into a world of connection and growth. A warm welcome awaits you. See you on the inside.
Hi friends, this is Bishop Wayne Malcolm, the business bishop, and I want to share with you an amazing opportunity. It's an opportunity to be part of a very fast-growing and lucrative industry. Some people call it the industry of ideas. It is where people are trading in knowledge commerce, literally taking the ideas in their head, the knowledge, the experience in their head, converting those things into products and services and bringing them to the marketplace where they bring such massive value to people who are looking for solutions, looking for breakthroughs, looking for transformation. Well, I've written an ebook all about it. It's called From Wisdom to Wealth, and it explains the secrets and the strategies behind the industry of ideas, behind the great trade in knowledge commerce. Listen, it's absolutely free. Go to the website and grab your copy right now. Perhaps we'll talk